this computer. Perfect. So, hey everyone, and welcome to your third, and I believe this is the final Millennials training. Thanks so much for jumping on to learn basically all about how to share Arbonne with Millennials in particular. So, how to share the Arbonne opportunity really is something that you should be starting to learn in your first month in Arbonne. So, I'm pretty sure most of you all know how it works and also what works for you as well. I know we've got a couple of newbies, so this will be really helpful for you. But yeah, those who are new or would like to know how to maybe improve one-to-ones that they're currently doing and make them a bit more slick, hopefully I have some tips for you all to put in practice. But what actually is a one-to-one? Because I know that that's kind of thrown around quite a lot. A one-to-one is actually sharing the Arbonne opportunity with someone, actually talking to them about what Arbonne can bring to their life and about what Arbonne is. Sometimes we mistake it, we'll just chat to someone that someone at work that we've never spoken to about Arbonne, but we'll literally just say a few words about what it is. We won't actually ask them many questions about them. That doesn't count as a one-to-one. It needs to be actually sharing the opportunity, asking them lots and lots of questions. So remember that one-to-ones and Discover Arbonne, so actually sharing the opportunity, is the preferred method over sending a Discover Arbonne video to prospects. Because I know last week I talked about how to reach out to people on Instagram in particular and take a look at the opportunity. But remember that although I did suggest you can send videos out, they are a last resort. And although they're better than nothing at all, sharing that opportunity, speaking to them is so much more successful. So what I would definitely suggest though is that you do all create your own 3-minute taster video. Molly, I know you love a shout out, so I'm going to shout you out again. I think Molly popped hers in True North the other day, but if she hasn't, you could drop her a message and ask for it. But Molly's got a really good 3-minute taster video that includes a bit about what Arbonne can bring to someone, what's in it for them. And that's basically, if you're talking to someone on Instagram, you can send that out to kind of get them intrigued. And then again, you really do want to suggest that it is best to be on a call. And then worst case scenario again, but still better than nothing, you can send a Discover Arbonne, obviously nothing more than 10 minutes. Ask your upline if you're unsure on any of that I've just said, or you can definitely drop me a message. So I really do think the main 2 tips that I have about when sharing Arbonne with someone, one is to absolutely share it with passion, share it with excitement, vision, enthusiasm, conviction. You really want to be clear on where you're going, even though that might be cringy for you in the beginning and you don't yet have that belief yet. You have no idea how powerful that is for that person you're speaking to. So you don't want to say, oh yeah, I'm going to give this a go and I might be able to create a life by design with this. You want to absolutely have that conviction. That's what people are going to want to join. They're going to want to join your business if you know exactly where you're going. They're going to want to go to Maui with you. So that makes it so much more powerful when you do that, especially with millennials as well. I just want to reiterate that point, because so many millennials are basically having kind of a subtle meltdown in the background. Not all, but quite a lot. I definitely, I did. I was always worried, and if anyone was on the DA that I did last night with Donna, I basically mentioned about how I was really nervous. As soon as I finished uni, I was scared about my future. And a lot of millennials, you'll find, are in that position about their future, working the rest of their lives in a job that they're not sure that they'll enjoy for the rest of their lives, with probably not a desired income and restricted time off as well. So that is why what we've got to offer is so powerful for millennials. So that's kind of the first tip. I know that was quite long-winded, but that's kind of like the first tip. Really share it with passion and conviction. And then 2, ask lots and lots of questions. I'm going to go into that a bit more in a minute. So what is the best way to learn how to share Arbonne? It's by sharing Arbonne. That is the best way that you can learn, is just by doing it. This is an earn as you learn business, and it's also your business as well. So you need to learn what Arbonne is and how to share it. but also if you don't do it perfectly, which, you know, that is completely expected, we do learn from that. We learn from what works, we learn from our mistakes, and we grow every single time. I remember being so incredibly nervous, literally shaking, the first time that I video called two of my friends in Australia when I was quite new to the business, and I was just so nervous about it for like 2 whole days. But they both became my PCs, and I think Leanne's always told me that when Donna first shared the Arbonne opportunity with someone, they joined her team. So you know so much more than you think you do. And at the end of the day, this business, like I said, is about sharing the opportunity. That is what we do, with as many people as possible. So you're going to have to do it at some point. So yeah, just do it. Something else I did when I was learning the opportunity, and kind of how share Arbonne, was listen to lots of Discover Arbonne. I'm sure you will, I don't know who did that. Someone's jumped on. I'm just going to mute everyone again. So yeah, so Discover Arbonne, I'm sure most of you know what that is, but basically if you go onto YouTube and type in Discover Arbonne, you can find hundreds. And they're mostly under 10 minutes as well. So there's no excuse really not to listen to one a day when you're learning this. And what's even better than that as well is going to a live DA. Get yourself to as many live DAs as you can. I know in Ash's team, they go to DAs all the time. It's an absolute must. It grows your business and your vision so much. Plus you can take guests too, so that counts as sharing the opportunity because they've heard it. And take your notebook and scribble loads of notes as well, because that's really going to help you. So there are a few ways of sharing Arbonne. So you've got the presentation slides. So I use those really rarely, and I think Donna agreed, you know, and I do agree, it's really important to learn those Discover Arbonne slides. They're in Nation Collaboration in files. It's really important to know those, because if you're doing like a group Discover Arbonne, it's great to have them up. Or yeah, so if you're kind of sharing the opportunity with a few people, which you will end up doing. Then you've got the 2-page document, which is brilliant. I have it stuck on my wall at the moment, but I printed it out and laminated it, and I kind of carried it around everywhere. You know, have it traveling with me, and I just have it everywhere, just on the go. And if I'm doing a phone call, I'll quite often have it in front of me as well. And then yeah, so I guess that kind of is the same as having a phone call, or like a video call with someone. I think that works really well, just FaceTime, WhatsApp. Or you've got the one-on-one coffee scenario. I absolutely love sharing Arbonne over a coffee. It's just, yeah, it's just a really nice way to do it. I think face-to-face is the absolute best way to share this, because that person, again, they get to see your passion, they get to see your enthusiasm, they see, you know, your conviction. So make the effort to try and do a one-to-one, face-to-face, wherever you can. However, obviously that's not always possible. And I think really, you know, in my opinion, if you're speaking to millennials, sometimes it is best to you know, have a phone call or a video call like FaceTime, or you can use WhatsApp. I think I just said that. Zoom is great, but it's not really necessary for a one-to-one, I would say. It just kind of, by doing a video call or a phone call, it kind of cuts out that faff of that person having to download it, having to jump on and figure out, you know, how to unmute themselves, that kind of thing. So it just kind of gets rid of that. So video calls are just as good and much easier, really. And obviously, if you are doing a group Discover Arbonne, like I said, Zoom is much more practical, and it's a must that you will have Zoom, definitely. So say you're doing a one-to-one on the phone with a millennial, you want to make the entire phone call last around 20 to 25 minutes, no longer than 25 minutes. We are here to show people that Arbonne is a business that anyone can fit into the spare pockets of their time. And people don't really need to know every single detail about Arbonne. I know I've said this in the previous millennial trainings. People don't need to know every single detail about Arbonne in order to make a decision on whether they want to do it or not. So less is more, and key details, there are like 6 key points, which I'm going to go into. So the first thing that I do when I call someone is I just thank them for their time, really, and I say what they're going to expect on that call. So I lay out what the call is for. You don't want it, I know that sounds quite like kind of professional and that, but it's really not. I think it makes it much more laid back. So I just say what the call's for, just to get to know a bit about them, how long it's going to last, and then I just say I'm going to talk. So get to know them, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about me and how I got involved with this amazing company, and then I'm going to briefly run through what the opportunity is, which is going to take me no longer than 10 minutes. And then I also say, this is really important, I also say, if you've got any questions, do leave them to the end and I can answer them at the end for you, because sometimes if I forget to say that, people always interrupt and they're asking me questions throughout, and it just makes it so much longer. So yeah, definitely say that as well. And then I say, does that sound good? And they go, yeah. And then you go, brilliant. So then your job is to find out their why. So you want to ask like not loads and loads, like you don't need to know their life story, but you want to ask lots of questions. You want to ask about their job, their children, what they do in their spare time, whether they want to travel, whether they go on holiday, I like to ask, some people never think of this, and I love to kind of put people on the spot, but I ask people, what is your main passion in life? And then it really gets them thinking, like, what would they love to do? I also love the question, what would you do if you had all the time and all the money as well? So if your bank account was overflowing, and you had lots and lots of time to plan your days, plan your weeks exactly how you wanted, what would you do? And it really gets them thinking. And then you know what Arbonne could be for that person, because essentially what Arbonne brings to people is more time and more money. So there's a great acronym. It's called Flirty. So I think I found this, I heard this at AAC. So Flirty, so family, leisure, income, road, destination. So that's kind of like where you think that person wants to go, maybe with their career. If they have anything, kind of in mind of what they want to do they want to start their own business, set up their own charity, that kind of thing. It's like where they're on the road to go. So and then time, so are they really busy? How much time do they have? You want to kind of work that out, because you want to think of ways you can, if they say, oh, I'm really busy, you can think, oh, well, you just said that you have an hour-long commute, so that's perfect to be able to do this business. So you've always got answers to those objections, so you're kind of already getting that in ready for the end. And then why is you? So mention how you got involved. This is what you do just before you go into talking about the opportunity. So you want to mention how you got involved, talk about your 60-second story, just elaborate slightly, but again, say it with conviction, be really relatable, because it's really going to inspire that person. So Flirty, just say it one more time. So family, leisure, income, road, destination, time, and you. So that should really take about 10 minutes to ask that person questions, get to know about them. If you're forgetful, write some things down. I do, because you might have a one-to-one with someone, and then you have another one, then you have a follow-up, and they get jumbled into one. Or maybe you're following up with someone, checking back in with someone who was a no a couple of months later. So write some stuff down, because you absolutely need to remember their why, so that when you go back to them, you can say, things that are going to really inspire them and pick that person up and make them think again. But what I really want to reiterate with all of that is how you make people feel is so much more important than all the information about Arbonne. It's so much more important. So after you've done all of that, you obviously want to tell them about Arbonne. You want to tell them what the actual opportunity is. By this point, you've probably got them pretty, curious to hear it. So you just want to mention the 6 key points. So if you haven't had those, I'm obviously going to run through it. But it's basically also to ensure, so 6 points, it's pretty simple to remember if you've got those jotted down, and really they are within the slides and within the 2-page document. So that is basically to ensure duplication as well, So it's at the core of what we do is duplication. So we teach those people how to teach people, and so on. So if you've got 6 points, it's much, much easier to follow. So one, so you first want to talk to that person a bit about the brand. So Arbonne as the brand. You want to mention that it's 40 years old. That's so important, because that's something that they're going to be wondering as well, especially if they haven't heard of it. They're going to be pretty skeptical. So then you want to briefly mention the product. So this is all in the first bit. The products, mention it so briefly. We don't need to talk about the products for ages. Definitely say that they're vegan, they're cruelty-free, they're non-GMO, they're gluten-free, those kind of things. And you want to say there's no harsh chemicals and about the 2,500 banned ingredient list. That's pretty important. And then obviously what we have as well. So nutrition and skincare and makeup and body care. And they're going to be already thinking, all right, okay, I use all of those things. So then that brings you on to the next point, which is consumable. So you just kind of want to say, you know, do you know people who shower every single day? Because people are already using these products day in, day out. They're running out of them and they're repurchasing them. So that's number 2. And then 3, network marketing. So the actual business model. You want to say that it's word of mouth. It's cutting out those middlemen. Time leverage. It's so important that you mention time leverage. So, you know, that whole, you know, trading time for money. Actually, you know, you're getting paid on more hours than you're physically working when you start to build a team, and that's why network marketing is so genius. And then just about stop, start and share, that kind of thing. So that's point number 3. So 4, that it's a global business, so talk about the countries that we're in. Ask again, so any questions that you can get into this are really good. So I just say, who do you know in these 6 countries? And I list them. And then I like to say, because obviously I've been traveling with my business, I like to mention the fact that I get paid in my sleep, because obviously that pricks people's ears up. So that's a good one to say. So 5 is how you can earn. Obviously they're going to want to know, look, how can you earn and how much can I earn as well? And just reiterate that they don't just get paid once, they get paid every single time that person shops. And then 6 is literally how to get started. So how to become an independent consultant, or that they can become a preferred customer if they want to. So that's the 6 points. And then, so at the end of the one-to-one, obviously you want to see what questions that person has. You want to hear all of their objections possible before the call is ended. You want to really try and get them out of people, because people do hold back. They'll be thinking, oh, you know, sounds like a pyramid scheme, but they won't say it. So you really want to get that out of people. And also someone might just say, oh, I'm really busy, so I can't do that. But actually that's just covering up another objection. So you really want to strip back those layers. The other one is that people say that they need to go away and think about it. I just say, oh, what is it that you need to go and think about? Because you can ask me right here, because, you know, I'm here and I can help you right now. But also what's so important here is, so you've said all of that, then you want to go back into their why again. People aren't going to argue with their own data. So you need to go back into their why. So don't be afraid to say, you know, oh, so you mentioned to me, you know, you're sick of working, you work so many hours in your 9 to 5, you're always tired and busy, but you really want to travel. So what vehicle is going to get you there? And that's kind of like, and people are like, oh, okay, I don't know. So that's a really good thing to say. And it's just answering those objections, making sure that they've, you know, heard all of the things that you can answer to. And then that is pretty much it. Just, it's really important. The other thing is really important to make sure that you send links out to that person after. And also do not get off the call without having a follow-up booked in, or a next exposure, getting them to a local Discover Arbonne, something like that. You always want to make sure that you have that next exposure booked in. It's in GoPro. So yeah, that's pretty much everything. I know I kind of raced through that. I feel like there's not that much to say on sharing the actual opportunity. So I'm just gonna, oh, here we are.